Hi there, this is Alyssa from Unbusy, where I teach you how to simplify your home, create routines that work for you, and uplevel your work from home mindset. You're in for a treat today because this is actually a live coaching call. Ashley is a homeschooling mom of 4 children, and she's also got a business. On this call, we're going to map out a plan for her to find time to work on a consistent basis, even with a 5-month-old in the house. And if you want a call just like this, but tailored to you and your problems, fill out the quick application below to get started working with me, because I want you to be an amazing work-at-home mom and actually be able to get everything done. So let's make sure you truly love your work-at-home mom life. So hi, Ashley. Welcome to the
Yay.
show.
Hi, Alyssa.
Give me the 2-minute brain dump version on your finding time to work issues.
Okay, so as you said, I have a 5-month-old, and he's not quite on a schedule right now. And so that is a pretty big challenge for us. And then I also homeschool my 3 other children. So they are 13, 10, and 6. My 13-year-old is pretty independent. My 10-year-old is partially independent. And then my 6-year-old needs me a lot for lessons. Um, my husband works outside of the home and he works really long hours. So I am taking care of the children and the home, the cooking and cleaning and errands and things of that nature, mostly. And then I think that pretty much sums it up. So I'm just busy with regular homemaking, caretaking, kid raising, and homeschooling things and nursing a baby. It feels like a puzzle. I do not know where to find consistent time in my day because I will have like that magic hour that I realize, oh my goodness, everyone in the house is quiet. I can do focused work. And so that's great. But then when I try to plan it, it almost feels like it never works. So that's where I am.
Great brain dump. Okay, I'm going to sidetrack just a little bit from the work
Okay.
time to the homeschooling, since obviously that is a huge part of your day. Do you have consistent hours you're homeschooling during the day? And if so, what are those?
Semi-consistent. We wait until the baby is asleep for his first nap around 9:30 or 10. We do about a half hour of together time, and then the kids have chores in the morning, like our animal chores and things like that, their own rooms and hygiene routines. Then as soon as the baby goes down, we start lessons with mom. We will break for lunch and we have about an hour, maybe 2 more. So really total of sit down work, it's like 3 hours max. And then we also have a quiet time in the afternoon. And again, for that, I've been waiting for the baby. So sometimes he naps at 1:30, sometimes he naps at 3:30. And our quiet time just starts then so that I actually have quiet time from everyone.
Yes. And is that homeschooling time, quiet time, or is that your mom break, quiet time?
That is my mom break.
Okay.
And then everybody is on their own. They're all in separate rooms having,
Yes.
yeah, quiet
Okay.
play or reading.
All right. So the rest of your homeschooling time is fitting in the post first nap.
Correct.
Okay.
And post lunch.
Okay. And do you feel like that's working well for you? You're happy with that? Or is that also something you would like to tweak and balance in addition to the work time?
It's taken me a little while to get here, and I feel like this is the best that it's been since we welcomed the newborn. Um, so yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I do feel good about it. I should also mention that we are outside of the home for homeschool 1 day a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we host a class on a second day. And that is during those hours, post baby's nap and post lunch as well. So I consider that school time and that fits within those
Yes.
hours.
Okay, great. Just want to be sure on that part.
Thanks.
All right. And then how is life with the 5-month-old? You feel like that's pretty good routine, or you're wishing for a little more help so that you can do some stuff around the house with him? Or
Oh, He is a joy and it is so challenging. So I'm actually on my third day today of having only 4 hours of sleep at night.
Oh,
And yeah, so that's really it's tough to just do the basic what I need to do.
yes.
And then thinking about my business is like an afterthought at this point. Um, but that's a combination of my own insomnia and anxiety issues than with him waking up to nurse at night. So that's our biggest challenge. And then I would like to get him on a better sleeping schedule. So that's tough.
Okay. Yes. Lack of sleep just shoots everything. You have no energy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then on the work hours, you mentioned every once in a while you get the quiet time. Every once in a while, is this happening like once a week, once a month? Like, what's the frequency here?
So I always get 1 to 2 hours while my kids are doing their quiet time in the afternoon. But sometimes that goes to household management things. So for actual work right now, once or twice a week.
Okay.
And then I will also say that I do tend to squeeze in little bits of work time here and there. That's what I've been doing, but that drives me crazy.
Yes. Okay. So what I hear you saying is you've got a routine that works pretty well apart from lack of sleep, of course, which productivity stuff can't really fix other than
Yeah.
brain dumping things at night before you go to bed, possibly, maybe. And you really need more work time. Homeschooling is going pretty well. Household stuff's going pretty well. And that is all a major accomplishment and achievement when you've got 3 kids in a homeschool and a baby that young, like, and a husband who's working long hours. So you are doing really, really well for the stage.
Thank you.
Well, it's true. So it's also really great that you've got some independent workers in the homeschool, because if you hadn't mentioned that, I was going to suggest that, since that is absolutely what I do. And the afternoon quiet time for multiple hours, like you have so many things in place to support you that are working really well.
Thank you.
Would it help if we moved your housework stuff out of nap time completely, so you had those couple hours of business time every day during the week? How do you think you'd feel about your work hours and the amount of time you were spending on your business if we could do that?
I would be so happy. So happy. And I think that would be great. And that was, I had hoped that that would be my business time, but it just feels like when I sit down at my computer, which is the same, the office is, everything is all together in the office. And so it's like I see these things that need to get done for the house, and I always prioritize that first. Not to say I don't ignore things sometimes, because at a certain point you just have to, but yeah, I'm not getting a really good balance. I'm just not making the time.
Okay. How is your morning time? So like while the kids are doing the chores, I'm guessing you're taking care of some of house stuff then, or is that mostly going toward baby care before you start homeschooling?
So I take a little bit of time to wake up, and because I'm not getting great sleep, I do sleep until the baby wakes up. Or I try to lay down.
Yes.
So that's like 7:30, maybe 8 if I'm lucky. And then I'll wake up and kind of go around and do the chores that are on autopilot. So that's laundry, some dishes, overseeing the kids' chores.
Yeah.
And I have my coffee. And honestly, it is like a slow time. Like I do need that time to wake up, but I could probably put the baby to hang out with the siblings or somewhere near me in the office if I needed to, because he's also in a great mood and happy to play on his own after sleeping near me all night.
Yes. I found that was a really useful time with the month-old ones, is put them down to go squiggle and have that sibling time, or, playpen, whatever time, and then you go handle whatever extra, prep supper, clean something. It really doesn't take very long. Sometimes it's only, a 5-minute or a 10-minute or a 17-minute. It never takes as long as we think. Right. But looking at the to-do list, you're like, oh, I've got all this important stuff to do. Yeah. And in reality, he's going to be totally fine. And this is his good time. Like, he doesn't actually need to be held and bounced and everything just right now. He will soon. Yeah. But this is your golden window.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think that's so right. I feel like I need to start the day, even though we've literally seen each other so many times through the night. So I don't know why we need to start the day with like FaceTime and more snuggles. But I don't know why I didn't think of that. That would be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you don't need to tell yourself you can't have snuggle time. But if the morning is when you really need to get the house stuff done, see how many times he's in a good mood. I'm not sure. And give one of them for snuggle time and all the rest of the good mood times. That's when you're scuttling around, because I bet you can knock out your minimum required house stuff then. So, kid chore time, chore time. Okay. Now we deal with the baby and the homeschooling.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think that would be so helpful.
Yes. That's what I did at any rate. So okay. Much that works.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you are in a very similar situation. And so I've learned a ton from listening to your podcast already. And I too am amazed that you are able to make time to run a business while homeschooling and running a home. So very impressive.
Yeah. Yes. With my fourth, I leaned on the older kids to say, he's in the good mood. You've taken care of your stuff, one person go entertain him and, switch off if you need to, so that I could feel like I could play mom, clean the bathrooms, oversee someone cleaning the bathroom, or
exactly.
Get food. Yeah. And then I didn't actually start the business till the baby was 7 months old and sleeping well. So I haven't actually done it with a newborn. I know I just slept in a lot and that. So you are also doing amazing for trying to keep the business on top of all of that stuff.
Thanks.
So if we've now pushed off all of your house stuff to the morning when he's happy, is there anything else that would distract you from doing business tasks? Or does that pretty much take care of the distractions that you said you'd, house stuff and do that first?
I don't think so. I feel like I would have to see if I could actually get everything done, and I don't have a little bit of overflow for that time. So I feel like I would potentially be playing a little bit of catch up from the morning, but I haven't tried it yet at all. So I don't know. I don't know what that would be like.
Sure. Yeah. Like give yourself at least a week, maybe 2.
Okay.
The other thing I will lean on is, in our household schedule, there is time between the baby's second nap and when I need to start supper prep. So if you can use that as your overflow time rather than quiet time, because it's really tempting to use quiet time, except that's the only business time. Right. When they come out from quiet time, they're all going bonkers because they suddenly are free from their rooms. Yeah. So if you can say, no, wait, I know I didn't get to everything, but I'm going to be recharged after quiet and I still have a little bit of time before supper. I'm not sure how long it is for you guys. Sometimes we have 30 minutes. Sometimes we've got an hour. That's also plenty of time to go play catch up. It's usually not a ton of stuff left on the to-do list. It's just those last, 1 or 2 things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be a great time. I've been getting better about preparing dinner earlier so I don't have that 5 o'clock culmination of everyone's hungry.
Yes.
Everyone's done with their day and I'm trying to cook.
And nothing's thought.
Yeah, totally. Totally. So I think being very intentional and taking action toward actually starting dinner earlier in the day at lunchtime or breakfast, I would have to do that. And then I would feel good about really keeping that quiet time for work only.
Yes. Because I think that's the key. If you can say this is work time, I'm not allowed to do anything else. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
when you know that you can't work because there's something else really important, when we say, great,
Right.
let's make time for you to get it done some other time, because that is
Right.
also important to you.
Right. Yes.
Now, the third thing I was thinking was, do you have a clear plan for what you're doing in the business? So say you magically now have 10 hours a week instead of 2. Do you know what you would want to do, or do we need to work on some of that as well?
Totally no.
Okay.
I and I think that's part of the problem when I come to sit down, maybe the housework looks good to do instead of making a decision on what
Yes,
stuff to take in my business.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I realize that, I want to keep my work hours to a minimum because I have so many other things that I enjoy and
Yes.
want to spend time on and my responsibilities. And so I know that I have to be effective with that amount of time, and I am not, sadly. So yes, I do need to figure that out.
Yes. Well, the trick here for what I found is, do not do your planning of what should I do when you sit down for nap time.
Okay.
So I'm guessing you're probably already doing weekly planning or something like that. You have a rhythm for that in your personal life, or for your homeschooling, meal planning, something like that.
It's not as like firm um as saying like every Sunday evening. But I do take time. I make time for that weekly.
So see if this would work for your brain. Can you add on an additional planning section that is what business tasks I'm doing? If you don't like to do it once a week, then, for the next 3 days, something like that. So you're handling, the house chores and, food stuff, or what lessons you're doing for the homeschool. And you're saying, and in this other portion of my day, since I wear all of these hats,
right,
I'm doing these 2 things or these 5 things, depending on kind of roughly how long you think they'll take you.
Yes, I do think that would work because when I am in like a productive mode of meal planning and scheduling, then I tend to want to look at work stuff too.
Oh, great.
I kind of like to see it all together.
Yes.
I'm very visual, and so I just write everything down and then organize it.
Perfect.
So yes.
So take advantage of the planning mood.
Okay.
And set everything up. Yeah.
Well, and then before you go on with that, one of the things I really struggle with is being in the mood to plan or work or do household work, whatever it is. And I tend to be really, really effective and fast and great and thorough when I am in the mood for something. And when I'm not, I procrastinate and I drag my feet, and it's just like it's walking uphill on a sand dune. Feels like I'm going nowhere. And so I've vacillated between waiting for the mood to hit to when I know that then I'll just be so hyper focused and I'll be able to like get a bunch of stuff done versus making a regular weekly time for it. So do you have a suggestion on that? And like, is it even possible to go by my moods?
Yes.
Okay.
I have
Yay.
Several.
Okay. Yay.
So you can just pick whichever one sounds like it'd work for you. Okay. Thing number 1, something that happened to me. I was going by mood for cleaning, and I didn't want to clean. And then the mood struck and I was cleaning. The problem was that wasn't happening nearly enough to keep up the sort of cleaning that I preferred to see in the house.
Totally.
What I found was I didn't want to have to make the decision every day. Am I cleaning those toilets or not? I wanted to completely ignore it and had the least amount of grr I have to if I wasn't in cleaning mood.
Right.
So the hack for that one is you appoint ahead of time, only this day of the week is toilet day. And the rest of the time, if it's dirty, I don't care. I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
Or whatever your frequency is. So like if it's a once a week, and if it's a Friday cleaning, then you go in there Wednesday and you're not going, oh, I don't know. Is that dirty enough? Should I do it? I don't really want to. I don't feel like it. You're like, nope, not doing it. And then every Friday, you don't talk yourself into it. It is simply one of those morning chores while he's happy. I am cleaning toilets because I have energy.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm gonna try to convince Tuesday Ashley to clean the toilet.
Okay. Yes. So it could be simply decision fatigue. Now, another thing it could be, I don't know if you've noticed this ebbing and flowing? Like, is this a case of you slept well, it's okay, you did not sleep well, everything's a chore, you procrastinated on everything? Could it be an energy issue?
I think it's partially an energy issue. And I also could see it coordinating with my hormonal fluctuations, although I just haven't paid attention to it enough. It's kind of just come on my radar that I'm realizing, wow, I really have these like dips and valleys of focus and energy. So I have not paid close enough attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely when I'm sleep deprived, like today, I'm like
yes,
not doing anything. I'm doing the bare minimum.
mm-hmm. Which I would make into a whole schedule for yourself. I'm sleep deprived, you know, if this is happening a lot, this is what a sleep deprived household bare minimum looks like. So you can immediately shift into that mode and lower those expectations. Be like, okay, that's fine. That's past. Can't do anything about last night. We can pray for good sleep tonight, but right now, here's what I'm going to do. And maybe you're like, that means I'm allowed to skip bathroom cleaning once, but I have to clean it the second week, or you're going to tell a kid to do it, and however they will or not they do it, that is good enough. You know, have an immediate, like, this is bare minimum survival mode because I am running on ridiculously low amounts of sleep. And then you're not trying to convince yourself to do all this stuff and you're like, oh, I don't really want to, because no, you seriously do not have the energy. You don't have the brain power. It's crazy how the sleep just affects you.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, that's such a great idea.
Okay, sounds like you resonate better with that one than the let's try to pick once a week to do it.
Yeah, that because, and it makes sense because based on different things we do, like the outside of the homeschool classes, we have a different schedule, but it doesn't throw off our regular school schedule because we've planned for, or we like know what to adjust for. So yes, I like this. I think that will really work.
Yes. And the third thing, you mentioned the hormonal swings. You could try this or keep it in your back pocket, is the cycle syncing stuff. Have you heard that? Yeah.
I've only heard of it, but I don't know very much about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not an expert myself, but menstrual phase, you don't really want to do anything. You're very likely to be in planning mode. You can see if that holds true for you. So if you are in planning mode, do more than a week's worth of, you know, homeschool lessons, or, ooh, what might I want to work on next month in the business? Like, get all kinds of things set up. And at the same time, you're letting yourself skip the heavy duty cleaning, the intensive recipes, not going in many places. You're giving yourself a break, but you're heavier on the planning, brainstorming, whatever. Once you've switched, like for me, it's closer to day 12 or so in the cycle, but I'm pretty regular with the 30-day cycle. So once you approach to the midpoint in ovulation, you'll start to get an idea which days, because it's usually a 3 to 5 day range, is the high energy phase. So that's when you feel like going out and doing a bunch of things business-wise. If you have meetings or things you need to be on video for, you'll probably feel energetic. It doesn't take much to get yourself psyched up to do something. And you will probably also feel really high energy in terms of any house cleaning, heavy duty stuff, like, oh, organizing project. Yes. And you're just like 2 hours straight. You know, like you have the energy to go all day and go the second shift and stuff. So if you know you have stuff coming up, either business or house-wise, like, be like, okay, that week, 3 of those days, I'm going to be in high energy mode. That project can wait till then. And so every month you have kind of a, like, what can I do in this month's high energy phase? Oh, didn't get that one done. Ran out of energy. Okay. Next month we're doing that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, they talk about getting into kind of checking off tasks, just cleaning up, like a to-do list. Smaller things. They're not ginormous projects. They're not high energy, but they're not, oh, I can do nothing except move things around on paper. So just the ordinary, okay, I can, you know, kind of the day-to-day life stuff.
Yeah.
That's been my experience so far.
Interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, because what you're describing with like totally having the energy and the enthusiasm to plan out very far in advance, I'll get that. And then some days it can be the same exact thing, and I'm like, ew, no. not touching it. So,
and then the key is being like, great, I'm in planning mood, amazing, this is my work, is planning, instead of saying, but why can't I spend 4 hours cleaning? I was so high energy last week. It's Well,
Right. Yeah.
we're women, we've got hormones. So when
Right.
that time period comes around, like, great, I get to do, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
That's sort of like mom overtime mode is what I've taken to calling it. When you want
Yes.
to do the overtime, it's not a drain
Yes.
because you have so much energy. You have to get it out before you go to bed.
Right. Right. Yep.
And then the rest of the weeks, you don't beat yourself up for not being at that high because that is not the baseline. That's like your super marathon level, and
Yeah.
lower is the baseline.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So you can try tracking a little bit and seeing if the planning and high energy matches up for you. And if so, then my business tasks for the menstrual phase are literally, sit down and plan for the next month and plan in the house and all that kind of stuff, because that's what I have energy for.
Right. And so do you plan weekly or monthly or both on a regular basis?
Not usually monthly, at least in terms of like meals and stuff. I will find that whatever I chose 4 weeks ago doesn't sound good anymore by the time I get to that week 4.
Yep.
Now I can plan 2 weeks out. So I found that just for me, once a week felt like I was having to do it really regularly. And I'm not actually that fond of planning. Every 2 weeks sounded fine. Everyone who said, oh, you don't like planning, do it once a month. That felt like such a huge chore. And like I said, I didn't even like my choices by then. And so many, like appointments come up and like the homeschool stuff, life changes too much. The schedule and the meals didn't match what I needed by then.
Yeah.
So I would just play around. Yeah, there's the once a month. I like the every 2 weeks. Some people like weekly. Maybe you do better every 3 days or every other day. Like the point is that you're regularly planning and it's happening, not, oh, I follow this person's system.
Right. Yeah, I think you do a really good job of individualizing what's going to work for you and just going with it. I think I try often to fit into like somebody else's productivity box. And having listened to you, I'm like, oh, so this thing is working for your family, so just do it that way. Yes. That makes way more sense.
I don't know why we always want to put ourselves in other people's boxes, but I've tried so many people's productivity systems. Like you said, I never heard anyone try a 2-week method, but I don't know, it works for me, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. But the thing is, I'm not going to tell you that you have to do 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to see what works for me.
Okay. Anything else coming up for you?
Did you have any more to say on picking the tasks that were important? So we talked about pre-planning my work time. Is there like a time that I should set aside that's a little less regular, that I really make goals for a few months or a quarter or a half of year for my business, and then work based off of that? Like, what is a good starting point in your opinion for deciding where to go and what next step to take?
I do that based on what feels fun for me. At least in this stage of my business, setting 6-month goals, I think it's fun because I'm a goal setter, but 6 months down the road, I'm like, I'm just totally not doing that. Like that project took 2 weeks, not 2 months. Or, oh, wait, I'm doing this. Like I can plan whatever I want. And it was just a piece of paper and it didn't actually have much bearing on the business. So if you find that what you plan does tend to happen, great, maybe it's working for you. And if you feel like it's simply you should do quarterly planning as a business owner, but you kind of shove it in a drawer and that's it, well, then it sounds like a pointless exercise to me. The meat of what's happening for you is probably that weekly, monthly, whatever. What are we getting done? What are we pushing out? Whatever client projects, podcast episodes, videos, whatever you're doing. So for me, the quarterly thing is I'm still not entirely sure what business that's actually good for, unless it's like when you're running a team with a ton of people that you maybe have to. Right. When you're a solopreneur, to me, I'm like, I like planning, so it's kind of fun, but it was like a pointless fun.
That's funny. Yeah, I find that I had, so many good ideas and I would
Mm-hmm.
love to plan them out. And realistically, I mean, maybe one of two of them were happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as you're saying that, I think what I'm realizing is going to work really well for me is to plan by season. So not necessarily sticking to like, okay, every month I plan for my business, but now it's November and it's the holidays, so I'm going to plan for that portion. And now it's spring, and maybe this coordinates with the class that my kids are taking. So I'm going to plan that way. Summer will be different, fall will be different. So I think that would work, and just me allowing myself to be okay with the way that I work
Yes.
and going for it is
Yes.
going to be important.
Exactly. And you can even keep a document on your computer or whatever with all those great ideas you would love to get to. And then every season you're planning, you can flip through it and be like, okay, are any of these actually relevant for me right now? We don't have to delete and never get around to the good ideas. God might be giving you all of them for a future time. But you definitely don't need to put the pressure on, oh, shoot, month 1 I should be doing this, month 2 I should be doing this, month 3 I should be doing this, just so you can say that you crossed off all of them.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. So another thing that I think about often is when I do come to work, I'm trying to decide for my business, should I be digging in deep to one thing, or should I be slowly chipping away at like the general foundation? So my business, I'm an artist and I make artisan gift items, candles, stationery supplies, wood burned items, kind of based off of what I'm feeling in the mood for, what I'm enjoying, like you said, and what the seasons are. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, do I just focus, since I have so little time, on the website? Do I go ahead and try to do a podcast? Do I work more on social media? I'm a little bit overwhelmed at all the different things to be doing for the business. Not my actual work, but to be building the business.
Yes. I was definitely all those things when I started mine. It took me 10 months before I felt like I had all the different pieces in place.
Okay.
So I would give yourself the time. And then how do you work better? Chipping away a little at everything, or do you prefer the big project chunks? Okay, great. The website's knocked out. Now I'm going to handle this.
Yeah, I'd really have to think about that, because when I'm in a high energy phase, I will go for it. And like, I built my website in a day because I felt like it and I was just obsessed with it and kept coming back to it. But then there's things that I've done little by little, chipping away at, like building up inventory for craft fairs, for example. And so I would really have to think about what works better for me.
Yeah, that might be a good exercise to do, because that's not being a business expert. That's how I would start, is you're going to make the most amount of progress by matching it to how you want to. Because if you really want a big project chunks, little by little is going to drive you crazy. If you can't stand big project chunks because you'd really rather, a baseline of effort in multiple places, that advice is going to drive you crazy. You'll feel like you're dropping a ball and you didn't want to. So think through that a bit. And then the impression I get is like, oh, you have a business, great, you should have like these 5 dozen things all up and running at once. And you're like, but it takes time to get here.
Yeah,
and nobody is talking about how long it takes to get there. So if you're in that phase, like, grace and peace, and it will come together. It's just hard in the moment because you can see the entire workload. But giving yourself months or seasons, and then when you look back afterwards, yes, you'll see you've gotten there.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like when I look at it and I look at what I would like to be spending time on, I tend to, I want to be there sooner than it's actually going to take. So that can be just a little disheartening sometimes.
Yes.
But I also have a little baby to hold and
Yes.
kids
You
to
have
hang
10
out
hours
with.
a week.
So
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us,
Yeah,
Ashley.
you're
Letting our
welcome.
listeners see what it looks like to practically move forward in a business when you've got babies and kids and homeschooling and all of that stuff. I think that will be
Yeah.
such a gift for them.
Oh, thanks.
And I hope your new time blocking strategies of house stuff when he's happy so you get all of quiet time to focus on your
Hmm.
business. I hope that really makes a huge difference for you.
Thanks. I think it will. This is so many good tokens to walk away with to implement. So I appreciate it so
You're
much.
welcome. And remember, if you want a call just like this, but tailored for you and your problems, fill out this quick application to get started working with me, because I want you to be an amazing work at home mom, just like Ashley, and actually be able to get everything done that you need to for your family. So let's make sure you truly love your mom life. And that's all for now. Have a wonderful day.